crazy games we have starting off here. In the early game, I kind of want to get your opinion on this. The 2v1s. What is it like to do something different on that? Because usually we see every team try to do the jungler, same thing, 3v1s, push the lane.
I actually thought it was incredibly smart of Curse Academy to send the Elise up there. What they noticed was that Broken Shard and Westrice had been sharing experience on the buffs, which meant that Broken Shard wouldn't be level 3, and that's really when Xin hits his power spike. Then he'll have his E, his Q, and his W. And they didn't have that, so they knew that they could hold under turret, and they didn't really have that much threat of being dove. So I thought it was actually incredibly smart, and it had a huge impact in the game, them making that decision.
Yeah, something like a Jax where you get level 2 and then you have the Empower and all of those abilities to help push the turret. Picking the Shyvana doesn't have that type of pushing power, yeah.
Right.
So pretty much against all odds, people were expecting compLexity.Black to come into this and just sweep Curse Academy. They're putting up a huge fight. And what do you think is the biggest thing? You think it's really dominate, or do you think it's just like teamwork and how they're adjusting?
I think Curse Academy has a good plan for the games. They kind of revealed their strategy to win. The way that they want to play is they want to have an early game top laner, an early game jungler, then they want to have a supportish style mid, and then a hyper carry AD. So they kind of just like have a super like early game so they can get to that late game, and then they have an AD that's being supported by a Lulu or a Kayle, and then what are you supposed to be able to do? You can't really engage onto the AD, and he's just there to clean up your whole team. So I think that Curse Academy has a better idea of what's strong in this patch right now. So even though they might have been behind in the rotations before, this game they're able to match the rotations, and I think if they do that, they win this series.
And was it completely wrong for Mash to be in the bottom lane by himself, or could compLexity.Black kind of turn that around in their favor still?
I think that because they weren't able to dive that top turret, it was a genius play. You have the Vayne free farming. If they send the Shyvana back, then he's just laning against the Shyvana. And if your top lane is not going to get dove 4v3, if they can't effectively pressure that, you're having free farm Vayne, which is one of the best things you can have for your late game. So I think that it's a really smart decision by Curse Academy, and compLexity definitely did not expect it.
So how do you come into this next game with bans, knowing that the hyper carry of Mash is real, and that what Broken Shard said in the beginning definitely needs to be taken into consideration?
I don't really know if you target the hyper carries or you target the support mid laners. It seems like Duosec's champion pool is a little bit small. Like he's played the Kayle and the Lulu. Maybe if you hit that, you'll be able to hurt Mashme a little bit more, because Mashme can play the Vayne, he can play the Twitch. I'm sure that he could pull out something else and be able to carry with it if those get banned out. So I think that the place you go is you try to ban out the supportive mid lanes and try to hurt Duosec like that.
Yeah, that's going to be really difficult, though, because Rux has shown that he can play the top lane Ryze, and then he can hyper carry with that. So there's a lot on the line here.
Yeah.
And since Curse Academy will now be blue side with first pick, there's a lot in the air.
So what do you expect? I wouldn't say expect. What do you think that compLexity.Black should come into this picks and bans phase with banning in mind?
I think that they'll probably end up trying to ban out the Kayle and maybe the Lulu, and then maybe try to ban out the Soraka too. Maybe they go 3 mid lane bans. It's pretty difficult to call that because a lot of teams don't really put that much emphasis on one role when they go into bans, but I think that would actually be one of the best things they could do in this pick ban phase to like get a little bit of an advantage.
Anybody on Curse Academy right now that's kind of standing out to you, that's been playing and people are following with on the team?
So I definitely think Mashme's been like the hero so far. Like he's carrying these games like really hard, but somebody that's impressed me a lot is Pat. I think Pat's came up huge. That last game he had on-point ganks. He was able to kind of get the Renekton going, and then he went bot, and he was able to make a positive impact there too. So I think that Pat's been playing really well this series, and I think that Mashme has been carrying the games pretty hard. So.
Now, how do you think that Curse Academy can continue to kind of shut down Broken Shard, being such a heavy early game focused jungler?
Well, I think that the 2v1s kind of end up helping them because he doesn't end up having that early game impact. Broken Shard isn't able to make the plays when there's these 2v1s and he's kind of forced into a lane. So although compLexity seems to have better understanding, it kind of hurts Broken Shard that he's not able to have his early game impact, and it's kind of just give and take.
So you think they should just go back to the 3 and 1 in terms of levels?
Yeah,
give him level 3 and let him gank?
Yeah, I think if I was compLexity right now, I would try to pick just strong lanes, pick power lanes that can stand up, maybe take away the Renekton in terms of picks, and then they have lanes that win, and they won't be able to have the hypercarry just scaling. Like you won't have Curse Academy have Mash just sitting in that bot lane scaling. You'll be able to apply pressure. You can win the lanes. You can force objectives and force him to fight a little bit before he actually wants to.
All right, Dominate, final question. Could we see anything crazy from this teams, or is it not really characteristic of a team to try super new things in a best of 3 when you're doing it right?
I think that at this point, the teams kind of want to stick to like what they've been doing. Maybe compLexity makes a little bit different picks, but when you're playing in a game like this, you don't want to lose off something that's not practiced, and they've pretty much been showing what they perceive as best. So I think they kind of stick with their strategy, maybe make a couple of small minor adjustments. But generally speaking, I think we're going to be seeing some of the same strategies.
All right, Dominic, thank you once again. If we go to Game 5, we'll see you back on the desk. All right, everyone.